Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I know it's pretty early or late. I don't know. Um, so today I would like to kind of just share my experience for the past 10 years, actually. I think I like to do this kind of presentation, not because I want to say like, hey, look at me, how good I am, but I truly believe that with my background, if I can work in tech, if I can like survive in tech, then for those people who want to work in tech, definitely everyone can do it. So that's my main motivation of sharing my experience every time. So my name is Simona. That's my English name. I picked for Japan specifically because I used to just use my real Chinese name. I used to work at Facebook for 4 years. And then before that, I was at Deloitte. So 4 months ago, I moved to Japan. So now I'm still learning the language, exploring the city. So in terms of Japan, I'm definitely a noob here. So hopefully after this, later on, I can connect with more people through Alliz as well, so I can kind of root in the city. So today I have a bit table of content. It looks a lot, but I can definitely skip some parts. So I think I just want to kind of go through the timeline and then sharing my experience from journalism into tech. And now I definitely have different understanding about like a career in tech after lots of things happened that I will share. So let's go back 10 years ago, like 2014, actually, I started my journalism degree in my master's. I also did my undergrad in journalism. So I was in the US, and I drew this cat. I love like drawing cute cat stuff. So this was me back then, holding my camera everywhere I go and dreaming to go into Wall Street Journal. But then I took one class, it was called data journalism. I think that's when data journalism just kind of getting bigger in the US. And then that one class, all we did was we requested data from the government, and then each individually, I request data from the government, I analyze the data, I found out what's the story there, and then I go out to the real world to interview the real people. But then during the whole process, I realized I really love working with data. I can sit there for hours every day, just like playing with my 100 records in a spreadsheet, even though it's like extremely small amount of data. I was so excited every day, just like working with my data set here. Then I was thinking, after that one semester, I was thinking, if I really like working with data, maybe I should learn more. So that's when I started my data learning journey. And then back then, all my friends are in journalism. I didn't have any like tech friends, so I didn't know what to do. Naturally, I turned into Google search. If now, maybe I'll just ask ChatGPT, like, what should I do? But back then, I turned into Google. I was just asking very basic questions. Like, I like working with data. What should I learn next? So I think almost all the answers I got was, oh, you should start from SQL, because it's the easiest language and it's the most useful one. And also it sounds really, the grammar wise, it's the closest to English. So it's like very good for learning when you absolutely know nothing. So then I went on YouTube. And also there are a few other resources I use. There's a website called Udemy, where I paid maybe $10 for a SQL course. And also there are free, those courses from university. I think I used one from Stanford. So overall, it took me maybe $10 and a week to learn SQL, because like the basic SQL is just that easy. I think everyone who have used SQL will know. And then starting from there, I started learning Python and tried to understand what is data and stuff. So I think the self-learning process took me like half year to 1 year. And I think it was really helpful in terms of overcoming anxiety, because I remember one night I was in the school and I was having a panic attack. I was thinking like, oh my God, I really love data, but what's next? What should I do? Because I already spent at that point already 5 years in journalism. And also I did my master's in the US. So my mom definitely paid a big money for me to go to US. I was like, all this money, all this time, all this energy, what should I do? But then I was thinking like, yeah, fine. I'm just learning something new. Even if it doesn't work out eventually, doesn't matter. I'm learning something new. So I think definitely learning has always helping me to overcoming my anxiety about like real life. So at least I'm learning something. And then so, and then I was doing a bit more internship stuff. I was telling everyone I want to learn in data stuff, basically. So I was telling everyone, and then I was able to find a few internship with help from professors, with help from like school programs, things like that. So eventually, I landed in Deloitte as a consultant. But at Deloitte, I was not very happy because the work is not that technical, basically, because it's a consulting firm. So everything's a bit slower in terms of technology development. And I felt like I'm not learning new things. So I was very unsatisfied, even though I think the job itself was okay. It's just like I'm not learning new things. So I think I want to find my next job. So, but I didn't really know what to do. So this time I decided to basically turn into LinkedIn actually. So I would go on LinkedIn and then search through all those jobs. And then I would read those job descriptions. So I would search things like data tech or data Airbnb, data Facebook, things like that. So I will read those job descriptions and then like line by line, I'll just copy paste everything out. And then line by line, I will see, okay, this one wants SQL, this one wants Python, this one wants something like analyzing a big amount of data. This one wants cross-functional partner, things like that. So I would just extract those out and then put on the skills that I already have. Like I know SQL, but my Python is pretty weak. So I would, okay, here's what I need to learn. So I will continue learning. So I think this was a pretty long process because it took me I was at Deloitte for like a year and a half or so. So like this whole process, I was just like dreaming about breaking into tech. Basically, at that point, I was using these online resources, also using YouTube to continue learning new skills that I think, okay, I really need this one. So it was a whole cycle of identifying what I didn't know, learning new things, and then go back again and just continuing doing that. Sometimes I would feel like this is getting nowhere. Like I kind of feel less motivated. So I think that's one skills that I still use right now. Is I would also go on LinkedIn and then I go through those profiles. I click into one to one. So I will search things like data and scientists at Facebook, and then I will see like maybe 10, 20, I don't know, a million profiles there. And then especially because I'm from China, so especially I would look into profiles that look like Chinese women, and then I would read about their experiences, their profiles, and then think, okay, between her and I, like what's missing there, what's gap there, and then I would also dreaming about, okay, that could one day be me. So even now, like sometimes for no reason, I'll just go on LinkedIn, I'll just click into random profiles and just kind of looking through these strangers' profiles and then think like, okay, where they come from and what they're doing right now and where they may go next. So I think it's a fun thing to do when I'm like when I'm not like motivated at all to learn anything. I'll just like, if I want to be that one day, then I need to continue learning. So eventually, in 2017, I decided, okay, this is a time because I was really done with consulting firms. Nothing against consulting firms, just not for me. So I started my eventually I started my like actual search. So at that time, I was kind of lucky because I was living in the West Coast in US. I was living in Bay Area, but my project was in New York. So every day I had to wake up like 5 a.m. to start working on this project. That's like in New York with a time difference. But that also means after 3 p.m., I can log off already. So every day after work, I would go to a coffee shop and start there and sit there and start learning new things and prepping for the interviews. Just like go online and put together everything everyone have ever said about, okay, interviewing this company for this position, here's what I did, here's what they asked, just all the information putting together. And then I started learning new things again. So I think that's what I've been using for all the interviews. I just go online and then find everything anyone has said about this position, about the interview process, and then I just learn those specific things. So I think I started around Christmas, and then February, I signed the offer with Facebook. I also interviewed with a few other companies, but unfortunately I didn't get any of those. But I was happy with Facebook because I was like, I definitely need to get out of this previous company. So I wanted to join Facebook. And even with data engineering, I think it was kind of funny because I didn't know about data engineer back then. I think it was still a bit less known position comparing to, say, data scientist, data analyst, these type of positions. So my friend, he gave my resume to a data engineer recruiter and asking him if he can forward my resume to a data scientist recruiter. But then the recruiter looked through my resume. He's like, oh, she won't make it in DS, but maybe she can try DE, because back then I think less people apply for data engineer. So the backgrounds are not that competitive, because later on when I actually joined the company, all the data scientists I've worked with, they all graduated from like Stanford, MIT, and then they all actually have like computer science background or data analysis background. So I think I just got really lucky with that, because if I continuing interviewing for data scientists, maybe I wouldn't make it. But that's like different times now, because I think now it must be getting like super competitive. So, and then at that point, I felt like, yay, dream realized, because now I don't need to go on LinkedIn to scroll through people's profile. I am one of those profiles now. So I was very happy to starting at Facebook. I think once I started at Facebook, there are problems, of course, because one thing, I think imposter syndrome, it's like almost everybody talk about it. But I think for me, it was definitely real, because with my background, I was studying journalism, I did consulting, I didn't have any computer science background. In fact, after high school, I never took a math class, because usually when I do this type of presentation, especially in schools for girls, they will all ask me, oh, can I do this? Because I'm bad at math. I was like, yeah, I didn't even take a math class after high school. So with my background, and then with people, it's just like amazing how many talents there were, at least back then in 2018. Like I remember the first day I walked into a big room. It was like orientation for everyone who joined on the same day. I just picked a random seat, and then I started talking with the women sitting next to me, like on my left and on my right. And then we mentioned that, oh, we all used to live in Boston, because I went to Boston for my master's. And then turns out one of them was from MIT, one of them was from Harvard. And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to tell them that I was from BU. So it was that kind of talent pool that I was working with. All the people there, I was like amazed at how, at least like from background, how amazing everyone was. So I definitely felt a bit imposter syndrome. And also because before Facebook, I didn't have any data engineer experience. So I didn't understand data engineer at all. Because in data engineer, we do like pipelines, ETL stuff. I didn't understand. Like I've never done those. All I did was I script all those interview stuff. I prepped for the interview. So that was it. So I remember my first task was just adding a simple column to a table. So that's like very simple task, basic one. I couldn't do it. I didn't know, like I know how to write the SQL code, but after that, I didn't know how to say like integrate this code into our code system and all those stuff. So one of my teammates, he basically tell me like, okay, now type A, type R, type T. That type of situation, I was able to submit my first task because that was time for happy hour. He was also like, let's just finish this and then go get a drink. So that's how I first started at Facebook. So it took me maybe a month to stay late at work. Like everyone went home, I would stay in the office and I would go through everyone's code base. Like, because once you get into the company, there are so many code. So I would go through my team's code base and I would go through what my teammates were doing, just trying to first copy paste everyone's work, like trying to understand what's going on, and then just like continue practicing. And also because I picked a team that has many very senior data engineers, so they were able to give me lots of guidance. They'll help code review my code, and then they will give me more, like many more tips than the code itself. So I was able to learn very fastly. So I think after 1 month or two, I was able to understand, okay, technically I need to do this, like how to write the code, how to submit these stuff. So it really helped with my imposter syndrome. But I think what really, really helped was I realized everyone had it. Even the people I think, wow, that's coming from these shiny backgrounds. So I was working with one software engineer. He graduated from, I think, MIT or Stanford, one of those, with a PhD in mathematics. So in my mind, he's already like, oh my God, a shiny person with a genius brain, like Atamaga for sure. But then because he's Chinese, so we were able to chat a little bit in Chinese. I think once I start chatting with someone in Chinese, we kind of open up a little bit more. I guess that's like the power of native language. So he opened up a little bit more. He was telling me he felt a bit imposter syndrome because he graduated, he has a PhD in mathematics, but not in computer science, which to me was like, dude, what are you talking about? You're like a genius already. Why are you thinking you're not good enough? You're not as good as your other coworkers just because your degree is different. So I think after that talk, I kind of like accepted my imposter syndrome. I feel like, okay, if a genius like him still feels it, then with background like mine, I should feel it, and it's totally fine. I can still do my job. I can still learn. I'll just like continue learning and do my job, and one day I should be feeling fine. So I think that's how I overcome like one of the most difficult part of transitioning into tech is just to feel like, do I really belong here? Like, can I really do this job? Because I really didn't have any background. So I think after maybe half year, I was able to like fully, transitioning into tech. I understand how it works. I know how to do my job, even though there are so many things to learn. And then things happened. So I usually say that my experience at Facebook was very complete. So I joined the team, I joined the company, I joined the teams. I worked with 3 teams on different products. And then I also experienced a lot. One thing was mental health crisis. I took 4-month mental health leave because it was like during COVID, I joined a new team and then I just got burned out. So there were lots of factors. I think maybe because I joined the team after COVID, so I never met the team. So it was always, we only talk on video chats, and then it was only like we talk on meetings. So there's no personal connection and there was no offsites. There was really dinners for me to get to know my team members. And then there were like a ton of workload. Also the stress of what's happening in the US at the moment, and then also what's happening within the company at the moment. So after I was like crying at work for 2 years, I was like, I cannot do this anymore. So I talked to my manager at the time, like, I just couldn't keep going like this anymore. So I took a 4-month mental break leave, and then I also relocated from US to Singapore to join a new team. That's when I decided to move back to Asia, because I feel like I've spent 8 years at that point in the US. I felt it was enough experience for me. I've moved around in the US and I want to experiencing something new. And also I feel like being an Asian woman in US, especially during COVID time in New York City, wasn't an easy thing. I definitely wanted a break. So I decided to move back to Asia, to Singapore. Even though I like moved to a new team and I was still feeling very upset. I think because like going out of a burnout, it takes time, and I think it takes a lot of help. So it still took me maybe about a year in Singapore. Even though I was like with a new team, I was still like upset and unhappy every day. It took me a lot of effort to kind of go out of that kind of marsh. I can only call it marsh because you kind of feel like you're just kind of sinking in, you cannot get out, that type of feeling. And then after a year, maybe it's always sunny in Singapore. So I finally got better. And then not long after that, it was the first wave of mass layoff from Facebook. And I think it was also the first mass layoff of like all the Silicon Valley companies. I think I remember because we were in Singapore and there were laws in Singapore that you cannot lay off people after hour because of time difference. It was maybe like in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning in the Bay Area or in New York, I forgot. But it was 7 p.m. in Singapore that we actually received email saying, okay, we're going to start this layoff. And then you will get email one by one to tell you whether you survived or you got laid off. I felt like it feel a bit like Squid Game, like we don't tell you anything, just wait for that one email and there's no meeting, no like, okay, let's talk with HR and your manager. That's just one cold email saying, okay, bye-bye. But I think at that time, getting laid off was actually giving me a bit like relief, like, okay, I can finally leave Facebook now. But the only thing was a bit unfortunate because I love rock climbing. And even though that night I didn't sleep at all, I slept maybe 2 hours because I was waiting for this email. I was chatting with my teammates like, oh, what should we do if we get laid off? Actually, my plan was if I get laid off, I will sign up for for a language school in Japan. And then I can also do arubaito. I can work in konbini or I can work in a ramen shop to practice my Japanese. So these things were what I was dreaming about that night. And then the second day, 7 a.m., we received email. My whole team was gone, like 40 plus people from director to like IC like me. And then, but that night I still went rock climbing because I wanted to be at my happy place. And with my head was kind of foggy, I broke my ankle that same day. So I was like lying on the ambulance. And then I think the pain from my ankle was fine, but then I was like crying and telling the ambulance staff, like, you know what? I lost my job this morning. Now I broke my ankle and blah, blah. So it was a whole, like a lot of things happened all in one day and a lot of emotions to deal with. So it actually took me some time to kind of deal with my emotions and then try to, also it gave me a time and break to really think about what I can do in my life and what I really, really want in my life. Because with my ankle broken, I had to go through surgery and stuff. So there were like 2-3 months I could just sit at home. I couldn't do anything. So it gave me a lot of time to think about what I really want in my life. I think that's what I mentioned in the beginning. Like after working in tech in big company, now I kind of think things differently now. So I was like thinking what I really want in my life. Is it money? Because I think sure, like working in Facebook give me enough money to live my life. But I also realized because my lifestyle doesn't really require that much money anyway. And right now, I don't have kids. I don't even have a cat or dog. So I have nobody to take care of. I only need to make sure I am fed. So it's like, it doesn't take that much money for me to live a happy life. And then is it worth to cry over work every day and feeling like I'll never recover? I think definitely not. Like not enough amount of money can justify for like crying over at work every day for 2 years. So I think what I really, really want was to experience life. That's like after lots of thinking, lots of thoughts, I was like, yes, all I want is to experience life. I want to experience different cultures. And then I also want to try different things, not just like chase promotions or titles. Like I definitely do not want to climb the ladder anymore. So for the first time in my life, like after going straight from school to work, I decided to take a real break. That's why after my ankle was kind of recovered, I decided that I don't want to work anymore. I didn't even set a deadline after like this time period, because usually people say it's a gap. Maybe I'll take 1 year, 2 year gap. But for me back then, I didn't think it was a gap. It was just like, I want to follow my heart. I want to do what I want to do. So for 2+ years, I didn't have a job. All I did was I traveled, I explored. I was like recharging myself using a very technical, I feel like recharge is a very tech company term. So I think it was a really, really experience for me to recover from the damage. I can only use damage to say it. I recover from the damage that happened before. So now I am a much happier person, and I feel like I can finally put myself in front of everything. I can put my feelings in front of everything. And then during this time, I was spending a lot of time working on this women overseas community that I co-founded with my friends back in 2010. So now we have members living across the globe. We have like 20K plus members. We are all like Chinese speaking women and non-binary, because I believe that once you move overseas, you face certain challenges that you didn't realize you would face when you live in your home country. So I felt like such community was very useful and helpful for people to come together and support each other. So for example, when I felt like burnout, I would definitely want to talk to someone maybe from my background who have experienced similar things, rather than talking to say a white male person. I feel like maybe they wouldn't understand me that much. So that's what I've been working on until now as well. We've been alive for almost 5 years. So this was a very brief like situation what happened. So after the past 10 years, and then last year actually I was in Tokyo for 2 months. I enrolled in a language school just to give myself a bit like regular time, a bit routine, so that I go to school and then I can have other time to relax and enjoy. So then I realized, okay, maybe Tokyo is a really good city. So I decided I want to move here. So 4 months ago, I moved here. I started a new chapter. I'm learning Japanese. I'm still learning. I'm working in a small startup now. So I'm also learning how to work in a small startup. It's a very different experience than comparing to working in a big company. And then I'm still like learning things about AI, about coding and stuff. So just like enjoying my life and enjoying the experience here. Thank you so much for everyone. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. So it's Simona Dai, Simona D. That's my real name. That's a surprise at the end. And then if you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. And then we can also discuss about any topics we want. Yeah, thank you.